Brothers Custom Tackle, custom-made jigs and Ned rigs. Feel-free kayaks. Pedal, paddle, or power, there's something for everyone. And Yak Gadget, proudly supplying you with American-made kayak fishing accessories and gear. Now, let's join our host, John Rapp.
Alright guys, hey, welcome to the Rusty Hook Kayak Fishing Podcast. It's John Rapp, episode 20. I'm excited about this one. It's going to be a good one. Unfortunately, I got to say, it's another episode of Storm Carver and his antics. My God, the guy is on fire. But we'll let him talk about his day. We got Mikey Holcombe back. At least we have a pretty face to bring back. And Chris Payne. Chris Payne is back. He's in the kitchen, doing his mad scientist work. And he's got some tips and tricks for the Crankbait group. So, got 3 guys watching. We appreciate you being on. And let's go say hi to Mikey real quick. What do you say, Mikey? Good, brother, good. So Mikey's up, and let's get him full screen. All right. Now we're going to go over and say hello to Stormy. Let's say hi to Stormy. Oh, well, hell, let me see what we got here. Maybe I need to switch from that good-looking man to that ugly dude. Stormy, what's going on, bubby? Hey, Stormy, check your voice. We got you muted. Stormy, you were probably cussing me in the background. He was trying to keep it G-rated, folks, because I was giving him the devil. Anyway, and we got Stormy here. Now let's go bring on Chris. Say hi to Chris. Chris took a 2-week hiatus from us. Hey, buddy, what you doing, Chris? How you doing, buddy? All right, so making some baits, guys. So we got Chris in the kitchen. He's building some plastic, and those are our 3 guys that are coming on. So grab you a drink. Make sure you smash that share button. Comment on the stream, and let us know what you think. Share, like, and if you're not a new follower or someone just watching, we just hit 200 likes today. And we sure would like a few more. Once we hit 250 likes, the Guggen Brothers is going to throw up a pack of Ned rigs to give out to a winner. So, anyway, let's take a quick break, and then we'll bring on Mikey. So,
This episode is sponsored by our friends at Payne Outdoors. No nonsense, straight talk, outdoor analyst, and custom plastics. Guggen Brothers Custom Tackle, custom-made jigs and Ned rigs. Feel-free kayaks. Pedal, paddle, or power, there's something for everyone. And Yak Gadget, proudly supplying you with American-made kayak fishing accessories and gear. Now, let's join our host, John.
Hey guys, welcome back. We're going to bring on Mikey Holcombe. Mikey has been killing it this year too. He's been tearing up the rivers here in West Virginia, put a lot of miles. And here real soon he'll be doing some river reports to tell about rivers in the real near future. He'll either be doing them here, or we will link to his show, one of the two. But Mikey will be doing that here in the near future. He's got a lot of knowledge and that he wants to put out, help us learn to navigate waters and stuff like that. He is got a YouTube page at Dink Duo. Help me, Mikey. Dink Duo Fishing. Yeah, that's pretty simple. And then he was our team angler of the year, him and his partner from Dink Duo for West Virginia Kayak Anglers. He finished 3rd this past weekend behind Stormy and Brian Butcher at the Bass State Championship in West Virginia. He had a heck of a good event. That's if you've never fished Summersville Lake, it's hard enough fishing it in the summertime. Lo and behold, fishing it the 1st of November. So congratulations on that, Mikey. Let's bring you on. You're live, raw, and unfiltered on the Rusty Hook, Big Daddy. How you doing? we're glad to have you, man. I'm glad to have you. You're a pretty face. You got a good voice. I mean, you're just so easy on the eyes. And I'm saying that I'm saying that in a nice way, because I know just out of camera view, if I'm not behaving myself, I might get smacked by the wife. So you tell her that I'm saying that with as straight laced as I can be. So. so man, let's talk about that third place finish. We know you've talked on here the past couple weeks about your year. You've had a heck of a year, but you had a great tournament this weekend too. So tell us what you got into. Hey man, so I don't know what the hell I've done here, but I'm getting serious feedback from all my boys. Says they are muted, no volume, can't hear you. They're muted, mute. And I don't know why. So, hey guys, we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to put my ugly mug internet guy on here and find out why all my boys are muted. So hang tight for a second. Let's see if we can figure this out. Yeah, we're still live, man. Yeah, you got they can't hear you, so you guys go ahead and just chitty chat there.
Let's see what's going on. Can I get your earbuds?
Hey, yeah, guys. So this is my technical support and my son, Ben Rapp. He's been working on my system, trying to figure out what we got going on. Hey, guys that are out there, John Clark, Nicholas Beltran, Joe Farson, if you hear any audio from any of these guys while they're talking to each other from Discord, let me know. And Stormy, you guys keep talking to each other, and they'll let us know. So you got to love technology. Me and Benjamin have been working on this system, adding some additional items on here, and for some reason,
what color was that, Chris?
Not wanting to work together.
Which one? The last one I showed you?
I can't hear Stormy.
That's Moody Blue.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, okay. Baby.
Got 5 viewers, guys. You 5 viewers out there, tell me what you hear. Oh, there's
that Moody Blue has cast a lot of
Stormy, say something.
this year.
What's up?
Chris?
What? How you want me to say?
Should hear the sloshing.
Yeah, boy.
This is turning into an ASMR podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you, man, I apologize because we've been trying to get this. We fixed what we had. The issue last week was our internet got unplugged. We found it after we got running around looking. So we have to blame that on the four-legged creatures. Yeah. But I think we have them there. Nicholas, John Cart, you guys, can you hear the boys?
Nico, ¿qué pasó?
What's up, John Cart?
Jonathan Cart, I hope you're feeling better, buddy. I'm gonna turn my phone on here real quick and take a look. I tell you, we're gonna run off all our friends and followers, aren't we? Pages, Rusty.
Y'all want to see something else? Look at this. Look at this, baby.
There's Jaws.
That is a jackal
Gigantic.
gigantrel. So it's the bigger version of the gantrel.
Oh, yeah.
It's a monster.
Gosh, they're so big.
The universe.
So good.
Hey, anybody out there, give me a thumbs up. Type in the comments there if we got volume. If you can hear any of the guys in the background other than me.
Check it. Anybody hear me?
You know what? I'm assuming they can, fellas. So we're going to jump back in here and go to Mikey. Oh, that's pretty. What do you got on the feathers?
That's the Gantrel Junior.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, because feathers, when they get wet and then you're pulling it through, they look like fins. They look like the dorsal fins of this bad boy.
Nice.
Or not the dorsal fins, the pectoral fins.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, Mikey, your live single, unfiltered, raw, and maybe heard at this time, baby. You might be heard. So let's talk about your weekend.
So short version of what I was saying before it cut out. Decided to head to the marina after the conditions the night before. Made a long run into the clear back of McKee's. Found some fish on timber. Lost a good one early. But I caught like 6 shorts, and I was working my way out. And I caught a first keeper of the morning was off of a point. It was like 30 feet of water. I was throwing a whopper plopper because I seen some bait flick, and I hadn't seen any bait flick in a while. So I bombed a whopper plopper, caught a 13.5 smallmouth. And I called, me and Storm, we talked when we were on the water. And of course, I'm pretty sure he had a limit. I had one keeper. And he told me, I said, well, I'm coming back to Main Lake because Shane Raines actually brought me a can of snuff because I'm a nicotine fiend and I forgot it. And he actually was nice enough to bring it to me. So I met him right there by the marina. Storm was like, hey, come fish. I got some rocks and some boulders over here if you want to come fish them. I was like, all right, I'll come sling a finesse jig. Didn't produce anything, but it was like 12:30. I had one keeper. I had at this point, I had probably 10 short fish, and I had one keeper. And we start working our way out through there, and I saw Long Point, way out in the distance. I said, I'm going to go all the way to Long Point, and I'm going to come back, and what I got's what I got. And before that, I found a flat in about 3 feet of water and tossed a finesse jig and was actually bringing it back to the boat. And I saw at the last second, 5-6 feet away, I saw about a 17 or 18 inch largemouth fall on it. So I twitched it twice, let it fall. He went nose down on it. I leaned into him, got him up to the kayak and went to net it, and it just, thrashed and jig. But it had 3 with it. It had 3 that were a little smaller or equal size, and I was like, dude, I found the fish right here to win it if I can back out. So I backed out, try to let them reset. They spread out. So that's when I came around the point. I called Storm. I said, I found the fish to do it, but they're spooked. So I said, you can let it reset and head back in there at the end of the day if you want, because he had a limit. He had a better limit than me. So I was like, man, I know where the fish are. I won't have my feelings hurt. So we get out there. I see Long Point. I told him, I said, I'm going to the end. What I got's what I got when I come back at 3 o'clock. And as I'm departing Storm, I toss I was throwing a 5/30 seconds Kayak micro jig with a 2.5 inch swing impact as a trailer, green pumpkin. And I tossed it. Literally, it's a 100-foot bluff wall, but there's a 10-foot ledge right there. Toss it out on the ledge. Tink, tink. It was a 15.5 smallmouth. First cast starting down that bank. And I was pretty excited. I was like, let's go.
That's 2, right? That's your 2 right there of the 5.
That's 2. So I keep working my way down. I pick up like a 12.5, and Storm calls me. He's like, how you doing, man? I'm like, oh, I'm doing all right. So we proceed to, I got my phone in my NRS right here with the zipper to where the speaker's barely coming out. And dude, we talk all the time. We're good friends. And I do the same thing with Evan. We'll sit on the phone for like an hour. I'll be like, man, we got to get off here. Our phone's going to die. We ain't able to take a picture of a fish if we.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're sitting there just, we're just shooting the shit back and forth, just talking, And man, I'm wearing them out. You can ask Storm. About 1 o'clock, it turned on for me, and it was a flurry. It was every 5 minutes I was catching a fish, but I had to weed through them. So I'll cut it short. I get up to this giant boulder, and I'm like, based on what I've been pulling them off of, I got my side scan going. I'm like, I'm gonna catch one. So I catch one and fill limit, and it's like, I knew it was 67.25 or 68. I hadn't added it up. And Storm's on the phone, and he only had like 65. So I'm like, I got you. He's like, you got me. I'm like, yeah, I know, man. I was like, I hope you catch one though. Like, I hope you call. I don't want to win and you not call and make it close. So he's like, I'm going to run back to a spot I marked fish earlier and caught him on a grass patch. So he goes back, and we're on the phone. I said, you going to, he pulls up like first cast, 15.5. It's like a 3-inch coal for him. And he's like, I think I got 67.75 or I got 68. And I said, well, you're going to need more than that because I'm going to beat you with a tiebreaker or whatever.
Right.
And we're laughing and talking crap. And he said, well, I think I got one more. And he casts right in there. And I hear the drag start screaming. And he says, oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. And it ended up being like a 3 pound 16.5 or something. It was fat. And he's just laughing. I'm laughing. He's like, I got you now. I got like 71 something. I'm like, good, man. I said, I got 45 minutes left. I'm going to fish hard. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And we're still on the phone. I'm still into fish. I mean, I'm just one after the other. I'd catch an 11. I'd catch a 10.5. I'd throw it back. And we're sitting there laughing. And I come up on another good looking area right at the end of Long Point. And I toss in there. And the drag that Stratic starts screaming. And I can hear Storm. He's like, how big is it? And I just hear my phone he's like, how big is it? How big is it? And I'm just like, hold on, dude. Hold on. And it's just head shaking. It's just staying down. I can't do anything with it. And I start swinging around the front of the kayak. And about that time, it makes a run. And it jumps. And when it does, it just comes out of the water. And I'm like, oh, God, it's big. And honestly, it was probably 17. It was probably 17-inch smallmouth. So it jumps, it digs, and I go to do the old lean back and net it, and it just pops free.
Oh.
And I just start laughing because there's nothing you can do. I've had a great day on the water.
Yeah.
At this point, I've caught 25 fish. It's probably my best day on Summersville as far as numbers. And I just start laughing, and he's like, "How big is it?" And I'm like, "It's nothing." Yeah. He's like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, it got off." He's like, oh. And you could hear he was kind of like, oh, okay. And then he was like, oh, I'm sorry. I was like, yeah, I'm sure you are.
Yeah.
That would have been like a 6-inch coal for me. I'm sure you are sorry.
Oh,
so
Storm.
it was a great day, man. I honestly, it was wavy, it was windy, it was cold. A little stressful, but man, it was a great day, honestly. It was a grind, but it was a really rewarding day and gave me a lot of confidence fishing those really tough conditions, because it was, so it made me feel good. It made me feel good in myself for being able to find fish and get on a pattern and stick it out, really, because the mental aspect, when you only have one fish at 12:30, and I didn't feel my limit till 2:40, so it was one of those things. It makes you feel good and makes you grow as an angler whenever you're able to stick it out like that. So that made me feel good. And Storm, I got to give it to Storm. That's something. If you're going to take anything from Storm Carver or Mark, and you've got to think about what makes those guys successful, is the mental aspect of it. Anybody can go out and catch fish when it's easy, but being able to grind and fishing with Storm on Stonewall and pre-fishing with Storm and being friends with him, it makes you a better angler, and it makes you push. When you're like, Stonewall, I didn't have a limit till 2:30. Same thing. I made a 3-mile run at 2:00 to get there, and that's why I did it. I'm like, I see Storm over there fishing his heart out, and I'm like, why don't I? Fish until you can't. Don't give up.
And I admit that has been part of my issues the past 6 months. I mean, I get deflated if I don't have good fish by 1-2 o'clock, and then I guess I'm not fishing as hard, or I'm fishing not concentrating as well. Not doing what you got to do to be successful.
Confidence, man.
Yeah,
Confidence.
yeah. Outstanding, man. Well,
So,
hang tight, man. Let's bring on Storm. Let him respond to some of your comments. Hey, that was Mikey Holcombe. Now we're going to bring on old Stormy and let him give a chance at making some comments. What do you think, Stormy? Old Mikey was blowing some smoke and making you big. I don't know if we can fit that head in this video, brother.
I'm gonna have to scoot back a little bit or something.
Yeah,
I guess.
you might have to. Man, that was some high praise. He's talking about y'all's day, and let's hear it from your end, brother.
Yeah, so day before pre-fishing, I had talked to a couple of people, and they had all suggested McKee's, but I have most of my experiences with Battle Run. That's where I spend a lot of my time. So I went to Battle Run, kind of beat around on some trees, caught an 18-inch largemouth. So I decided to leave them alone because I could see a couple more fish in there, and basically just went looking for schools.
When you say you could see, are you talking about on your graph, or did you see them? Okay.
Yeah, I had a graph. I could see them suspended off the trees. And but I started going around just looking for schools, because I figured, if I could find a couple schools, I could hang around on those of the mornings, pick off a few schoolers when they busted the mornings, and then go run around and just fill my limit. Well, I couldn't really find any schools. I ended up finding one on this one Rocky Point, and that got me thinking. I was like, and it wasn't a very big school. There was only like 8 fish in it. So once I got back to the ramp, I was like, I just don't think it's going to hold up, because if, Saturdays on Summersville, normally you got a lot more boats and everybody's out there and everything. I was like, I just didn't feel good about it. So that night I told Mikey, I was like, I'm going to McKee's tomorrow. Like, I'm going to go hit trees, because I know there's probably more trees in the water there. I'm going to go hit some trees, and I'm going to go hit Rocky Points, and that's what I'm going to do. Well, started off the morning. I had this one little flat that tapered into a point there close to the marina, and it had some real good rock on it. Well, I started cranking it right off, and I found some good grass, started pulling up some clumps. And I was like, okay, well, any experience with fish, I know there's going to be fish around the grass, especially on a lake like Summersville where there's not much grass at all.
Right.
So I started throwing a walking bait around, ended up skin hooking probably a 17 or 18-inch or smallmouth right there on that point. So I was like, okay, I'll come back to this after a while. I couldn't really get them fired up with crankbait. Caught, I think, like a 12 3/4. Went and was moving next to another one of the pockets where I saw some good chunk rock. on the map. And I got probably about 100 yards away from that point, and all of a sudden, a school of probably 2 to 3 pounders just starts firing, jumping out of the water and everything. So I start pedaling my butt off trying to get there, and they ultimately start dying down. So I just try and make like a 70, 80 yard cast into the wind, Bird's Nest City.
Oh.
So I got over there, ended up picking off 2 of them out of the school. So I ended up just running points for a little while, just hitting stuff that was similar because that's what I was picking all my fish off of. Well, I made it out to Main Lake, and I had small limit, like Mikey said. I think I had 63, 64 inches. And I was fishing a couple points out there towards Long Point that I like. I was like, you know what? It's about 12:30. I'm going back to that point where I marked those fish earlier and had that grass. I was like, there's got to be fish there. So I get back there, and I see a school start busting and a little break in the wind. So I run over there. Wind starts back. I can't get nothing going. So I start dredging around right there. My fish finder dies. So I was like, well, it's like, now what am I going to do? I can't see that grass. So I pick up my crankbait, and I just start fan casting. I pull up a clump of grass, and I cast in. That's whenever we're talking. I pull up at 15 1/4, and I was like, okay. I was like, they're still here. And Mikey said, I think you're going to need one more. And I said, hold on, I got one more. Cast it out there. 16 3/4.
Oh, my.
As soon as I hooked into her, I was like, oh, that's the right one. And she jumped probably 5 or 6 times. And I was just like, oh, please don't let this thing come unpinned. And they were nailing the drop shot on the drop. That's what I ended up catching most of my fish off of.
Huh, good.
With a scattered in cranking here and there. But I got that one, and even then, I was like, 71 1/4, 71 1/2. That's not bad. I feel like even though as tough as it's been, I think I need one more bite. So I just started running those points right there, cranking for the last 30 minutes. Because also that morning I stuck, I don't know how big it was, but I was burning the crankbait, paused it, and went to start burning again. She just stopped it dead and started running the deep water, and I couldn't catch up with her, and she pulled off.
Oh.
I'd say it was definitely a big smallmouth. It was right there around where I caught that other one. And, I just figured, I'll just try and work on a good little reaction bite here at the end with what little time I got left, and couldn't get on nothing else, but it ended up holding up.
Well, that's awesome, man. I mean, you've had one heck of a year. I mean, good grief. I had the video that I took from the Bass Nation where you and Mikey got your trophies and y'all did your interview, but where I was standing over by the TV and they had the WVU game, you couldn't hear anything but the WVU feedback. So I'm like, well, I won't even bother putting that on here. I'll let you guys tell some stories. So it sounds like, we know Mikey and Evan have a good relationship with the Dink Duo squad, but you guys, you already have your little group that you run with Rick, Bunny, and Philip, and Mark, and Jeff. But it seems like you keep growing your entourage, bro, and it keeps growing. You're and a more experienced and good fisherman. All of you guys are talking to each other. I can only see it. It just everybody getting better. That's some of the best anglers that West Virginia kayak anglers, and this is the whole state has that fish out of a kayak. Great group. Yep. So that'll lead to my
better, buddy.
Yeah, well, that'll lead to my questions, man. Here in a little bit about when I ask you guys what y'all are going to do down the road. Hang tight. We're going to go solo here. We're going to throw up a commercial, and then we're going to bring on Chris Payne. Chris is coming back after a two-week hiatus, so stand by.
Payne Outdoors, straight talk, an outdoor product analyst and custom soft plastic maker. Check out our reviews and products at our website, payneoutdoors.com.
Feel Free Kayaks, something for everyone. Pedal, paddle, or power, we can outfit you to meet your needs. For more information, visit feelfreeus.com.
Kayak Gadget offers all kinds of kayak accessories such as motor mounts, anchor systems, and other track-based items to make your time more enjoyable on the water. Visit their Facebook page, search Yak Gadget.
Hey guys, welcome back. For you 11 viewers that are out there that stuck with us after our little bit of a technical difficulty with the muting and no sound, appreciate you hanging around. We got Chris Payne coming back. Chris is in the kitchen making some plastics. He's got some good knowledge and information to share with us. What's going on, Chris?
What's up?
Hey, what do you think of this right here?
I love that lid.
It looks good, don't it? Looks good.
Gorgeous.
Yeah,
and
man.
Unfortunately, I'm sold out of those. Those bad boys went quick.
Dang, that's awesome, man. Well, I'm glad I was able to get one. Thank you.
Yeah, we had a run on them down here with the high schoolers. Like I had this hat on at a fundraiser we were at, and those kids were like, "That lid is dope. Can we get some of those?" I was like, "Yeah, brother, $20." They're like, "Cool, we got money." I'm like, "Great, I got hats."
Yo, daddy.
Yeah. So, I'm like, all right. So yeah, we got a bunch of high school kids running around in Paint Outdoors plastic
Sweet.
down here.
Awesome,
but
man.
I'm about that, right? It's community.
Heck yeah.
I'm just making baits. I've got some orders going out. We got all kinds of.
Oh, it looks good.
All kinds of goodies. I just shot up these combat green and the grappler grub and all kinds of good stuff going. But actually, what I wanted to talk about tonight is something that Storm mentioned for a little bit.
Yes.
And that's actually crankbaiting in the fall and the winter, and not just crankbaiting, but speed cranking. So this is something that I've been doing for a few years. I actually learned it from Keith Combs, and it's something that I think Matt and Tim Little over at Tactical Bassin just dropped a video on, and I was like, oh, all right, well, that's a good reminder for folks. So speed cranking is how you can get lethargic fish that are maybe suspended or just kind of hanging out when the water starts to cool down, that are maybe posting up behind shad but not really actively feeding. Speed cranking is a good way to get them fired up. Now, the trick is, well, there's a few tricks. So a deep diving crankbait, they're not all the same, right? They have different bill shapes. And so if you throw, well, hang on, let me.
There you go. I hear them. Dig them out, baby. Show the secrets.
I got my box, right? So look at the bill on this Strike King.
Right.
And look at the bill on this River to Sea. Okay? So if you're rolling slow, it's not going to matter a whole lot of difference. But if you're rolling fast, this Strike King with that bill is going to wobble. And it's really going to just, all over the place. A narrow bill like that is going to stay with a more subtle line. It's going to look a little more like that coming through the water, more like the bait fish are doing. So here's why that's important, right? As the water cools, those bait fish are not like just flying around everywhere like they are in the summer. That's this, right? Summertime, I'm throwing this. I want that big wobble and that, hey, look at me, right? When it starts to cool down, I need that subtle. So this is a River to Sea. This is actually the tactical DD crank that Matt and Tim designed specifically for this technique. These are not for the faint of heart. They're like almost $20 a piece.
Ooh.
So make sure you got your lure retriever with you.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, I've only bought 4 of these, and I've still got them. And they catch fish, especially in this technique. Now, here's another thing. So the first few times I was doing this, I was fishing with Keith. And I don't know if you guys have ever met Keith Combs, but he's built like a lumberjack. He crankbaits all the time. He's got forearms that are like huge, and so he's cranking down on these reels, and I'm just like, I'm trying to do the same thing, and I'm fatigued after one cast, right? I'm bombing it out there 80 yards or whatever, as far as I can throw it, and trying to burn it back, and I'm like, oh my god, this is killing me. Well, dummy. So here's how you get around that. Point your rod right at that crankbait. When it's coming back, put your rod tip low. Okay. So a couple more tricks with that, right? So let's say I'm throwing that tactical DD crank, right? And so that's going to dive at about 19 feet, give or take, 19 to 20 feet.
Wow.
And if I'm dragging and it's just digging in, and I really need to be an 18 foot, I can actually raise my rod tip up since I'm pointed at it, and it'll raise that crankbait about a foot.
There you go.
Right. If I need it to really dig down, let's say that it's at 20 or 21, I put that rod tip, I'll put it in the water. Shh, don't tell anybody. But I'll put that thing in the water and burn it in. And that'll get me a little bit deeper on that. For line, I get asked this all the time. Can I throw it on braid? Can I throw it on fluoro? Can I throw it on mono? I do not like mono for deep speed cranking like this because there's just too much stretch. There's too much stretch in it. You're going to lose a lot of fish because treble hooks in general suck and you need to change them out, right? You need to get some triple grips or something like that. Yep, Heartbreak City. That's right. You're right, Marky. And so, you know, I've started throwing fluoro. Now, I fish a lot of clear water lakes, so I throw 12, 14, or 15 pound fluoro. There's a lot of guys that are like, I'm 17 or I'm 20, or it's like you get a, you know, I don't know. It's like these guys that drive around with testicles on the back of their truck. I'm like,
Yeah.
Do you really need to, you know, like, how insecure are you?
Really?
But, you know, like, use what works for your water, right? If you're fishing super clear water, fish a 12 pound or a 14 pound fluoro. You ain't got to throw a 30 pound fluorocarbon leader.
Right.
Like, you don't need all that. If you were fishing like some of the nastiest nasty stuff, first off, I wouldn't throw a crankbait. I'd throw a jig. But if you absolutely have to speed crank some just gnarly riprap with mussels and tree limbs and all this other crap, you can throw braid. I wouldn't throw much more than 20, but I would be prepared to lose some lures because you're not going to get that responsiveness of the tip. We're going to talk about rods a little bit. Not all rods are created equal.
Right.
All right. You need to invest in a newer crankbait rod. Right. They're usually this blend of glass and graphite and all these different things. There are two rods that I like. Right. So if I'm going to spend about $200 on a rod, I'm going to use the Shimano Zodiacs. They make a fantastic cranking rod. They make it in, I think it's 7.2 or 7.3, and then a 7.11 if you're throwing the bigger. If you're throwing like an 8XD or 10XD, you go to the 7.11. But for most of the stuff, you know, I'm throwing a 6XD or that tactical crank, that DD crank from river to sea. I'm using a 7.2, 7.3 rod. I don't need all the other stuff. And so the other one, so if you're looking to spend, you know, $140, $150, is the St. Croix Mojo Bass Glass.
That's what I got. Yep.
They redesigned that 2 years ago. So they went from the black blank to kind of the green hued blank. So the green hued blank is the new one. It is way improved over the traditional one. You got less sponginess, a little more backbone. But you still got that tip like you need it to be able to respond when those fish jump. A lot of guys are like, well, I just fish my crankbaits on a medium heavy, you know, regular rod. Okay, that's cool. But understand, unless you just bury that hook in that jawbone, your rod's not going to respond. And so those fish have a much better chance. That's what cracks me up at the ramps are guys throwing crankbaits all tournament long. They're like, I'm throwing crankbaits. Man, they just had horrible luck. They keep jumping. I'm like, well, what rod are you throwing? Man, I've got this 7-foot medium heavy favorite rod, or, you know, even a Shimano rod or whatever it is. If it's made to throw like a 3/8 ounce jig, don't throw a crankbait on it. And especially if you're fishing stock hooks, you're just asking to cry. And that's really all you're doing at the ramp is you're just crying and telling people I don't understand the different applications for different rods.
Right.
So invest a little bit of money in a technique specific, especially as many guys that throw crankbaits out there. Like, spend the $150. Trust me, when your landing percentage goes from like 20% to like 85%, you're gonna be glad you spent the 150 or $190. Believe that.
Yep.
Let's also talk about one thing that I do different that a lot of people love to do, but I just don't buy it. I do not throw a 5-to-1 or 6-to-1 gear ratio on my crankbait. I don't do it. I throw usually, so 99% of the time, I'm throwing a 7-to-1 gear ratio. If I'm trying to fish it faster, that allows me to do it. I can always slow it down.
Right.
And I want to be in control, because here's what happens, especially in a kayak. If I'm fishing deep diving crank and that fish is 30 or 40 feet away from me, right? And he understands he's hooked and he starts his fight, he's going to make a lot of moves. And he's going to go under me, and then he's going to go around, and he's going to go back out, and he's going to go over here. If I'm fishing a 5-to-1 reel, it takes me a lot longer to get those inches back in and get him close to me so I can net him. I am playing with that. If I were on a big boat and I could chase him down with a trolling motor, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. You know, I could fish it slower and do the slow grind. Here's the other thing. I don't like fishing that slow if I'm fishing a crankbait. I'm trying to fire up fish that I'm seeing on a school. And after 3 or 4 casts in there, if I'm not nailing them, bye, we're gone. I'm just going to tell everybody it was a school of drum, and I'm going to go find something else. Like, not wasting any time. Because, look, it's just like being at the barbecue. If I'm at the barbecue and I'm making steaks and I'm making chicken and I'm making, some pork chops or something like that, and you slide by and you're like, you know what, I'm not hungry. Okay, I'm done with you. Bye. Why are you at the barbecue? Like, same way with those fish. If I'm throwing that bait, if I'm giving them those pork chops in the water and they're just like, nah, I'm not really it. Okay, bye. Bye. We're done. I'm looking for hungry. Trying to feed some things.
Some hungry or hangry mamas out there.
Yeah. I like hangry grandmas.
Oh, yeah.
I really like hangry grandmas. Give me the hangry grandmas.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to make a shirt with that. I love hangry grandmas. Right?
Let's
People
do it.
in the grocery store will be confused. But kayak anglers will be like, yep, I get it.
Yep.
It'll be almost like the Jeep wave. They'll be like, yeah. So,
definitely.
yeah. So, crankbaits, we talked about reels, we talked about lines, we talked about rods. I like a DC crankbait or a cranking reel, like a Corrado 7-to-1, DC, or an SLX DC, $189. So now we're talking, about $400 for a cranking setup.
Right.
But that's a cranking setup that's probably going to last you 15 or 20 years, right? With minimal maintenance.
Right.
Just take care of it.
Yeah, you
Don't
get
drop
what you
it
pay
in
for.
mud. Don't use it in salt. Take
Yeah.
care of it, and it'll last you forever. My dad's got an old cranking stick that he's had for 30 years, back when they were still making real glass. And that thing, it's tough to beat that, right? And once you start catching fish on a glass rod on a crankbait and realizing the hookup ratio and how much play you've got on that, you're going to want one for a jerkbait. You're going to want one for deep divers. You're going to want one for square bills. It's addicting. Because it's fast fishing. You're not just soaking a worm all day long, which
right.
I'm guilty of that. I make worms, and
yeah.
I catch a lot of fish on worms. But this time of year, getting a fish to bite a worm, they're just kind of like,
yeah,
not really feeling it. But you burn a crankbait by them, there is something that in their neurological system, they cannot. It is a nerve reflex. They're like, I gotta go see what that is. Speedy Gonzalez going right by you, and you're like, I gotta go check that out. And then it stops, and you're like, oh, really? You're gonna do that? And then if they're either gonna munch it right there, or as soon as it starts to move, they're like, nope.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it is. And I hope guys understand. Now, here's something I'm gonna say that's gonna be sacrilegious to jig fishermen.
Uh-oh.
But I prefer that deep, just of a crankbait bite to a jig thump. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I do. Because here's the thing. A jig thump, I can get that with bluegill if I'm fishing a little bitty jig. You can. You can.
Yeah.
You throw a little 5 foot ultra light, right, and go out there with that, and they'll be like, boom, boom.
Yeah, I have to admit the spotted bass down at Lake Norman just ruined me with 2 years ago when I was throwing a crankbait down there for a Hobie tournament.
Yeah. Yep. You get on that crankbait bite, man, and so I've been at Toledo Bend before and marked fish, and stop on a dime, turn around, bombed out a 20 foot deep diving plug, and cranked that thing through there, and just had fish fighting over it. Hooked one, and they're fighting over it all the way to the surface. There's nothing like that. I have never seen a fish try to take a jig out of another fish's mouth. I have seen many get double hooked on crankbait.
And I was going to say that was my first time ever catching 2 fish at one time. Was at Lake Norman on them spots.
I have a crappy cell phone video of Keith on Lake Fork. I'm in the back of the boat. We're burning 6XDs, and he catches 2 6-pounders at the same time. And I'm just like, I guess I'm a crankbait fisherman now.
Yeah.
You know, I guess I'm doing this forever.
Heck yeah, man.
Love me some crankbaits. I've got a big box of them. Most of my crankbaits are, well, a great majority of them are going to be chartreuse and blue, right? Chartreuse, blue back, and then these kind of natural bluegill shad patterns.
Yeah.
I don't mess with all the other. I used to try to throw a red crankbait, and it worked real well in February down here, but you know, I found that they'll hit those bright colored patterns like the chartreuse and blueback pretty much year round. And if I'm fishing big shad balls, I'll throw that natural tactical DD crank through there, and that's really all you need.
Yeah, I was throwing something. It was a perch color, a goldish brown mustard down toward Lake Norman. That's what they were just destroying. And as soon as I lost it, I had another one that was similar to it, but I wasn't getting nearly the hits like I was on that one. So.
Oh, one more super top secret, not so top secret, right? So everybody knows in musky fishing that you need to do the figure 8, right? If you have a follower, it works for bass and a kayak too.
Oh. Don't tell.
I've had them.
Don't tell Storm that. Don't tell Storm and Mike that. I mean, good grief.
Hey, look, that's your problem in West Virginia. They ain't fishing Texas water.
You just wait. They might be. Let's bring in boys on. Let's talk. Let's see what they got to say.
Well, boys.
Well.
What y'all know about a crankbait?
Oh man, I like that bite.
I like
Part of my bite up there at Summersville, that's what it was burning it, killing it, and start burning again. They'd hit it on the second burn.
Yeah. They hate it. They absolutely hate it. It's like telling a kid, you can't have this. That's how we got our kids to eat vegetables when they were little, right? Not you have to eat your vegetables. It's like, oh, that's more for me. This is awesome. I'm gonna take it and take it off their plate. They're like, but I want it. I'm like, no, you said you didn't want it. And they're like, no, but I want it. Right?
Yeah.
Same way with the crankbait. You try to take that crankbait away from that bass, got it.
Bam.
Yep.
So Stormy, what kind of crankbaits were you throwing this weekend?
I was throwing a Spro rock crawler. I was all time.
That's a good one.
What about
I
you,
love
Mikey?
that.
I took rods. I had 3 cranking rods, and I could have taken 1 rod. I was throwing a 3XD, a 5XD, or I was throwing a series. So 8 feet, 12, or 8 feet, like 10 to 12 and 15.
Okay. As I said, I missed that last one. I couldn't hear what you said there.
Here it's 3/4 ounce small. It's like a baby version of the 3XD.
Okay. Awesome.
So for guys that are wanting to get into crankbaits and they're wanting to do it a little cheaper, I'm gonna show you a bait that you can get into that you can fish in. It'll run from about 8 to 12 foot of water. You can find them usually for $4 or $5, right? Walmart sells them, Academy sells them, and so it's this guy right here. This is a Bomber fat-free shad.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That dude right there. Just be wary if you're around white bass or stripers, because they will murder this thing. But if you're fishing around black bass or whatever, man, they hate this. The first 5-pound fish I caught on a crankbait came on one of those little dudes right there.
Awesome. Hey
Want
guys,
to add?
go ahead, Storm.
Want to add a rod into that? I was using a Kistler filling reel. That rod's a composite. It is awesome for cranking. Awesome chatterbait rod too.
So what's the name
Send
of
me
it?
one and I'll try it.
Yeah, Kistler.
Okay.
What's the Kistler? What?
Filling
Real.
Feeling real?
Yeah. So I've got a Kistler Argon, and I have to not fish finesse on it because I can feel everything under the water. It's like every time it touches a little limb or whatever, I'm like, setting a hook.
There's a lot of premature hook sets with that filling reel too, because even though it's a composite rod, you can feel everything.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have to let you know that this is a fishing show, and the feeling reel is a fishing lure or fishing pole, fishing rod, fishing pole, not anything else. This is a PG. This is show, and some of these names, God bless them. Anyway, but yeah, anyway, that was funny. Anyway, I thought it was funny. Okay, you boys. So people, if you're just joining, we got Chris Payne top left. Bottom left is Mikey Holcombe. Bottom right is Stormy Carver. And these guys are some of the top anglers in their areas. Chris, as you can see in his background, is displaying some nice, pretty pink trophies where he was Angler of the Year for his club down there. Stormy's Angler of the Year as an individual angler for West Virginia Kayak Anglers. And then we have Mikey to the left, who was the Angler of the Year as a part of a team for West Virginia. And online too, right?
Challenge series, yep.
Yeah, so I mean, these guys, they can fish. They know what they're doing, and let's see what they have planned for 2022. So, boys, I mean, Stormy and Mikey, I know you West Virginia boys, you're like in year 2, possibly year 3 of your kayak fishing experience. Not nearly as long in the game as that boy to the top left, Chris. What are your plans?
They just called me old.
Old school, baby. Old school.
Yeah, boy.
But are y'all? What are y'all gonna do this 2022? Y'all got anything in the zooming in? Are you checking anything out schedule wise?
Oh yeah.
You want to go first or me?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Pretty similar. So looking at Kissimmee in January, I mean that's a definite for Storm. It's a maybe for me. Murray, definitely hitting Murray in February, especially if they have a warm winter in North Carolina. That could be a really killer event. Santee for Hobie in March.
I'll be there.
Yeah. Then we'll start picking up some of the state, West Virginia kayak angler stuff in April, I'm sure. Then June, I think it's June for Gunner's Chick. Going to Chick for Hobie in June. And then there's the rumor is there's a Northeast event for Hobie other than the Susquehanna. So that's end of June, I think, or July. Hopefully Kentucky Lake, right, for F National Championship. Is it on Kentucky Lake in 2022?
Yep.
I'd like to go there as far as national. Susquehanna, obviously. Definitely Susquehanna. I'll probably be there 4 times before that event rolls around. And then all of our state stuff. So
yeah, so
like,
you're looking at
talk, yeah,
5 to 6 events.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and do about 5 or 6 national events, and like you were saying earlier, Storm. Evan, and Storm, and Philip. We're all pretty tight. I talk to Storm and Evan on a daily basis, pretty much. Whenever we had the championship, I had a full house. We had Storm, Philip, Bunny, and Evan. And then I stayed with Storm for Mountain Mission. And then me and Storm stayed together for Summersville. So I think we're going to try and keep that going and probably travel together and split costs. Me, Evan, Storm, Philip, Bunny, Rick, whoever. We'll all throw in on a house. Make it as affordable as possible for everybody.
Well, that's what I was touching on there earlier. I said I was wondering if these continued inflation prices are scaring anybody, and I don't think it will if we can get together as groups and travel. So
yeah, you just got guys that got trailers. Yeah, everybody, you throw what you can on the trailer and then split the cost for fuel. As long as fuel doesn't go it's already pretty outrageous, but as long as it doesn't skyrocket,
all right, Stormy,
I don't even want to talk about it.
Yes.
But as of right now, I don't foresee it hindering anything. Personally, I'm gonna try and stay within 8 hours of the house. I know Storm, you can talk about your events. You're gonna travel a little more than me. I'm gonna try and keep it within 8. That way, I can minimize vacation.
I got you. Stormy.
So Kissimmee in January is a definite. Definitely going to Kissimmee for KBF. I don't know. Maybe Murray. Probably not. Because there's another East event that KBF hasn't announced yet, and I'm waiting to kind of see what that is. Gunnersville for KBF. I think that's end of April, start of May. Santee. Definitely looking at Santee. Chick for Hopi. Now I'll definitely be going to Bassmaster Classic Kayak Championship in March down there at Hartwell, whichever lake they decide to put us on. Of course, WVKA events. A lot of state events, Mountain Mission. I'll probably, Susky. Definitely gonna. That's a top priority. I didn't get to make it last year, and I'm still salty I didn't get to go. But that's definitely one that's on the target list. And then I'll probably finish it off with Kentucky Lake.
Yeah, so you're looking at probably 7 or 8 national events next year.
If I can keep the money together for it, that's what I'd like.
Excellent. Hey, Chris, are you going to venture out any this year in 2022?
No, sir. It's so my son is halfway through his junior year, and the last part of next year will be the start of his senior year. So I'm trying to stick around home and not travel too much until he's kind of out of the house. We got a lot of college trips still going. Like when I joined from Chicago, like that was a college trip.
Yeah, I remember those days, man. I remember those days from junior and senior year. You were the boys were always doing their thing. So Stormy and my son played baseball against each other back in the day, and
okay.
But so you
So we're gonna fish the local stuff, and I'm the security coordinator for our Heroes on the Water chapter here out of Fort Hood, largest military base. So we got lots going on there. So if I'm not fishing local trail and not doing a Heroes on the Water event, I'll probably be at a college tour somewhere across the Northeast. I don't know that we'll make it to Morgantown or whatever, but we'll probably be in Boston some this year, and I think we'll be out in California a couple times, just checking it out. He wants to live anywhere but Central Texas, I think. So We're gonna, he's getting recruited, so we'll just go wherever they want to pay him money to come to school. We'll go.
Well, we'd like to
Chris,
have him in Morgantown.
if y'all come up this way, hit us up. We'll go fishing one day or something.
Oh yeah, I will have to make a road trip on that instead of flying. I'll bring the kayaks and the gear.
You'll be taken care of, everybody. If you have to fly, no matter what, you'll have a kayak, fishing poles, and baits. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
I've got a warehouse.
Just
He's not kidding. He's not kidding.
all you got to do is you just bring your customs that you want to like test up here on the waters that you're wanting to throw up here in the rivers. Yeah, your customs that you're wanting to throw, baby. That looks good.
Ain't nobody throwing that yet.
Okay. Well, guys, let's start working on our closing arguments. I keep thinking law enforcement stuff, but our closing statements here. One of the things that we didn't get to touch on, maybe we'll touch on later, is I wanted to talk about like you doing Heroes on the Water trips. You guys all have sponsors, and hopefully 2022 gives you the opportunity to go sit in the house with all your teammates from different fishing teams that you belong to, where you get to fish, get to do some video work, some photo op, and you get to put some content on some websites for your products that you support. And I know the guys from Yak Gadget put something together like that for us last year, and it was awesome. I certainly hope that you Kistler and Z-Man and all the companies y'all work with will do something like that for you, because it's nice to go fish and fish with other guys, maybe steal some of their trade secrets, and just relax and not have to be competitively fishing. It gives you that little recharge. And I know like Waste Storm and these guys fish, man. They could use that every once in a while because they stay hard at it until 2:59. So, but I appreciate you guys coming on. Chris, as always, buddy, I appreciate you doing what you do. Mikey and Storm, you guys have been regulars the past month, and appreciate you guys jumping on here with the old Rusty Hook guys.
Absolutely, bud.
If you stop winning, we're gonna replace you. So.
Yeah. But we're ending up here. We got 10 viewers watching at the end. I appreciate everybody that stick around with us while we work through our audio issues. First 5 minutes, we added some software to the computer, and it was taking over our audio from these guys at on Discord's our server there. So Randy Newton, Daniel Dockery, Melissa, Joe, Harold, Jonathan, the top 5 that I can see right now. Thanks for watching. Nicholas, Heath, Mullins.
What's up, Heath?
Joe Taylor, Farson, Nathan Reynolds, Jonathan Cart, Nicholas Beltron made it for earlier. Appreciate you guys watching. Next week, Chris, Heroes on the Water, we're going to do a little episode. I've got over 40 anglers have reached out to me so far. I've built a slideshow with the guys that have served in different Army, military branches, Marines. I got a picture of them in their uniform or somewhere, along with them on their kayak and then their emblem. It ought to be a nice little slideshow. And then I'd like to hopefully, Chris, we can get some people on there and we can get them to talk about why they kayak fish after they've been in the military service and what it does for them. Because being on Heroes of the Water, man, it's something that guys need to help with cope with PTSD and other things.
I've seen some of those guys posting. There's some great dudes that are on that slideshow. Lance and Corey, and I mean they're just and Marines kind of have my heart. I'm sorry to everybody else, but I got a brother that's a Marine, so anytime I know I work with a bunch of Army out here at Fort Hood, but my brother being a devil dog, anytime I get to, hang out with devil dogs around here, actually one of my best fishing buddies over here is a devil dog. So, but we love all y'all guys. I'm looking forward to next week. It's gonna be
Yeah,
a great show.
I am too. All right, guys. Much love to you and thank you. Hey, guys, we appreciate you sticking out with us tonight on the show. We went a little bit long with a 1 hour and 5 minutes, but with the technical difficulties, Stormy and all these guys hung tight, and we got that wrapped up. Appreciate you watching. Again, next week, we're going to try to bring on as many military guys, and I want to fill up my Discord with all the guys that'll jump on. Hopefully we can get some of the guys that have sent messages to me. We've had Randy Newton on before, old Marine, Jody Queen, old Army guy, Fletch Griffin, Army, Joshua Booth, he's a Marine, John Graves, Navy guy. So hopefully we can get a few of these guys on, just come on and talk about their experiences from the military. Anthony Fitzgerald, Greg King, you guys, if y'all wanted to come on and talk about what kayak fishing has done to help you from your days from the military to now, love to have you on, man. So thank you. Look forward to seeing everybody on next week, and thank you for watching now. If you haven't already done so, like the page. As soon as we hit 250 likes, we're going to do a giveaway for the Guggen brothers. Have some Ned rigs that they've made, and we're going to give out to a winner there. So appreciate y'all watching.